Good morning, everyone. Yes, it's good to stretch. I think I have to borrow from our new athletic director. Yes, thank you. Can everybody please stand? Let's all stand. I'm going to borrow from him. Yes, I see some of us stretching, so it looks like all of us need that. Now we can sit. Thank you so much. Hopefully that helps. Well, good morning again. Marcus Babaoye is my name, and I'm the Chief Institutional Effectiveness and Advancement Officer. My office comprises of the marketing office and the foundations. And I just want to start by saying I want to thank the President for bringing me the opportunity, for bringing me here, giving me the opportunity to serve you, and of course the faculty and staff for being here. I'm here to advance the goals and mission of this great institution with great history. We're all marking 100 years. So I am really excited to be here. This is a very exciting time. And as you've heard from my colleagues, it's really great to be here. So before I start with my slide, let me share a little bit about myself with you. I've been working in higher education now for over 2 decades and contributing to major policy issues at everywhere I've worked. I've had the experience, unique experience of working at both private as well as public institutions, which also include a system environment. So I've had that opportunity to really gain a lot of experience over those years. And I also want to say that I was really delighted to hear a lot of the things that my colleagues said and how the crowd has responded, because that is what this is all about: strategic planning and institutional effectiveness. So that is what I'll be presenting upon. We are about to enhance and change our culture of doing things. Gone are those days when we used to do things on intuition and anecdotes. Today, if we want to remain competitive, provide world-class education to our students, then we need new thinking, new ways of doing things. We need to use data to drive what we do. And so that's why I was brought here. So as I've said, we're going to change the paradigm. We're going to improve on what we've been doing. We've been doing this before, but we're going to improve it. We want to be competitive, not only competitive, we want to be a model in this state and beyond. And with all of our effort, collective will and efforts, we can do it. Because I've seen it happen before. Totally turn around, 360 degree, to borrow the word of my colleague. So that is what we're going to engage in. And that's why I was brought here. And I'm glad to be here, to be in this beautiful city, this great institution, this beautiful city. So, like I said earlier, go to my slide. I've been working in planning, assessment, and institutional research for over 20 years, contributing to major policy issues. mostly creating, collecting data to guide what we do. Supported growth agenda at various institutions, enrollment growth, which we are interested in. We see how much dollars we could generate. That's what drives the funding for the college. So how much money we can generate to support your salary, my salary, and of course, the number one goal is quality students, providing quality education to our students. I've coordinated, facilitated, and supported accreditation efforts. Right now, I think I can brag about working at least 4 regions. We have 6 regions in the country. SACS, which is the most notorious in the Southeast region, the Higher Learning Commission, which is what we have here, NEASC in the Northeast, and Northwest Commission on Colleges and Universities. So Greg mentioned earlier on too, we're going for reaccreditation in 2017, and we got to be ready. So we're going to build on the good work that has been done before. We've been doing it, but we're going to get better at doing it. We're going to expand our databases, our assessment capacity. That is what we're going to do. And with all of your support, we can achieve this. We've been doing it, but we're going to get better at doing it. Contributed to recognition of the institutions that I've worked. And what does that do? This all kind of ties together when we do a good job of it, of using data to make decisions. Data is the resource, number one resource today in my mind. That's what I do for a living. So I will tell you, I believe it's the number one resource today. That is what makes the difference between a very successful organization or the one that is dying or basically closed today, whether in the private sector or in the public sector. That is what drives it. Launch technology solutions before at various institutions that I've worked. And one of the things that I found, which is one of the things that really attracted me here, to be honest with you, was the belief in the president in professional development. That is so crucial, so crucial if you're going to be on top of the game. Professional development is so important. We don't want to stay stagnant. And so I've contributed to that. I've been doing that. I would say I've been spearheading that process since maybe year 2000 when I first became a director, and progressively moving up since that time. And another important thing, fundraising, which is one of the things that really strike me when I go here. We really need to increase our effort on fundraising. Some of the folks who I met with, they will tell you my belief in that. I'm very strong about that. And we all need to take it very seriously. And Des will be talking to you and launching our campaign with you today. And I hope all of us here today will complete our forms here to contribute to the college. This is what we use to support programs as well as scholarships and enhance quality education and all of our programs. So fundraising is so crucial. And so I hope all of us will demonstrate our belief in what we do and to help our students succeed. And like I said earlier on, I've been a transformation and a leader and a change agent. I would say again from year 2000. And it's been very rewarding and very gratifying. And that can only happen with all of your support, with all of us working together. I usually work on committees and work with all the departments. I remember working at several schools, I read every single outcomes for every single major program. I was involved in working with all the department chairs, deans, and of course, all of my colleagues. And it's not only limited to academic programs. It's all of our operations, all unit tests. All of us have to be involved in that process. So all of us here, especially from chairs to unit tests, directors and managers, we all supposed to have unit plans. I had Greg and Steve mention about the master plan and academic plan. Well, it's not just limited to administrators or chairs and deans alone. Every unit head must have a plan. We must all spell out our mission for what we do. That is how we can demonstrate. That is how we can keep ahead of our competitors. So all of us will do that. I'm challenging all of us. I had the president talk about the new strategic plan, which we will see in due course. So my role, like I've said, is supporting the mission of the college, support strategic plan, lead strategic planning process, as well as strategic enrollment management. I've coordinated, facilitated, and lead accreditation efforts. I've seen the reports that have already been produced, and I just want to commend those folks who have really worked on these documents, and we continue to work with everyone. The work is not done yet; it's not complete, and so we're going to continue to make headway here. As I've said before, I've been involved in enhancing, and not just me in particular, it's all of us, collective efforts. It could not have happened. I couldn't have done it without the support of the entire institution. So it's all our collective will that will make it happen. Contributed to the feasibility and recognition, because when we get accreditation, when we get recognition from the system office, or there's a publication in the newspaper, the grants that we've gotten, all these affects the recognition, contributes to the recognition we have in our community and beyond. And how's this going to be done? Again, it's about working together as a group within the college and outside of the college. Partner with donors, alumni, and other stakeholders. That's what we're going to be doing here. That's one of my roles. And then raise awareness on evidence-based practice, continuous improvement, and institutional effectiveness. That is where rubber meets the road. We use data to drive what we do. And so it's one of my roles. We are in the building process. We have something on the ground, but we're going to develop it. We're going to make it a model in the state and beyond. I've done that not once, not twice, and I know we're going to get there. We can do it. And that can happen with all of us working together as a group. We're going to expand our databases on assessment, on now using national databases to support our planning efforts. All of this we're going to do. So it's one of my major role for that matter. So, well, you heard the president said, I want to commend and thank all of the task force group team who's been working on the strategy plan. The strategy plan is the roadmap to success. It is what drives us. It is what guides everything we do. So without a plan, it's like a blind man just walking. That is why we need to plan. And so I try to provide a definition of strategic plan. What is it all about, really? Strategic planning is how we organize work, our financial, physical, and human resources for achieving organizational mission. And so that leads us to our mission here at the college. Rochester Community and Technical College provides accessible, affordable, quality learning opportunities to serve a diverse, growing community. But can anyone please help me? Looking at this mission, what is the final product really? What's our mission is all about? Anyone?
Awesome students that get jobs.
Thank you. Any other one? Thank you so much for that answer. And that is what it's all about, quality product. Students to be successful and get job. Good citizen at the end of the day. That's what it's all about. It's all about students. And you heard the president and all of my colleagues say that today. It's all about the student. So, in the process of developing a strategic plan for the college, again, I thank all the work that has been done. We have to, in order to conduct or have a good strategic plan, there are some phases you have to go through. And so the task force has been very meticulous to do this, and again, I commend them. So the first phase is that you include students. It included inputs from students, all employees, and then conducting focus groups to gather qualitative information, which we may not see in surveys or anything of that sort. Very rich information. And of course, very critical to that process is involving our community partners. So that will make it all-encompassing and very comprehensive plan. And so the task team has done that, and again, broad-based. So that is so critical to having something, a blueprint, a good blueprint that we can all be very proud of, and we have one in the making. Well, the next phase, the second phase, is that a good plan must conduct environmental scan. And how do we do that? That will tell us what our peers are doing, what the environment is saying, what is it we need to focus on. And then at this stage, you collect all forms of data, qualitative and quantitative data, which was done in this process. And then we look at our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, which has been done. And in that process, you collect all forms of data, and teams starts to emerge. And it is from that team, themes that we come up with goals and the document. So, and from that team, we also determine which are our priorities, which ones are the top, which working with the, meeting with the strategic plan task force, we're able to rank and say, okay, this strikes us first. These are our priorities. This number one, this number two, this number three. And we also, from that process, determine what we're going to be doing for the next 5 years, 2015 to 2020. Again, is so critical. And so I'm really delighted to be here to be part of that process. The work is not completed yet, though. And of course, presentation to the community. And we are doing that now. We're in the process. We met, that was Tuesday, to finalize the discussion on the priorities that we're going to be focusing on for the next 5 years. And all of the task force, as well as our partners in the community, were influential, participated in that process. So This is it. We have 4 strategic priorities we're going to be following for the next 4 years. And you had the president also mention it earlier on. Provide learner-centered educational pathways and support to meet the diverse needs of the global community. Offer training and educational opportunities to meet the region's evolving workforce. Foster an environment of trust, communication, collaboration, and continuous learning to maximize organizational excellence. Communicate the values of our CTC's assets, programs, and services to the community. So this will be our roadmap for the next 5 years that we're all going to work on. And if we do a good job of it, which I believe we will, when the departments come up with their unit plans, all of the departments, or programs for that matter, when we come up with our unit plans, remember too, in your own unit plans, you will also have your own mission. So when we do a good job of it, believe you me, all of it will tie together at the end of the day. When after the year, at the end of the year, in June, July, when we submit our reports, and please don't be scared that I'm already giving you additional work. We are going to be doing it. At the end of the year, May, June, we're going to submit our report. What we're doing well, where we are weak, we're going to find it out. And like I was saying, the mission you develop for your unit and the outcomes you develop for your unit, at the end of the day, if we do a good job of it, it will tie down to the mission of the institution as well as the priorities. They all gel. It's going to tie together. And it's a exciting exercise at the end of the day when you see when we do this every year. So because what we do is what we now use at the end of that year for our planning efforts for the new year. Continuous improvement. That is what helps us to continuously improve, to do what we do best. And we will see the evidences of doing that in my presentation as we go along. So these are the 4 priorities. In the next phase, which is what I consider as where rubber meets the road, is the implementation process. And this is the stage we are now. At this stage, so in other words, I'm saying the task force, your job is not done yet. You've done a great job, but we still got some work to do. Well, we thank you, but this is where rubber meets the road. This is where we developed goals and objectives or outcomes to determine how we're doing or what direction we're going to be going. It's going to be more measurable and realistic, and that is where we're going next. This is where we develop key performance indicators or metrics or standards. They all mean the same thing. So don't be intimidated by them. Metrics, KPIs, criteria, standard, which we all do already in all of our various units. And then, as I've mentioned earlier on, at the end of the year, all of us will produce a report, which we will make public. It's going to be on our website, so everybody knows how we're doing. And that is how our competitors will really know, wow, at RCTC we mean business. We mean not only to be competitive, but to be ahead of the game in producing world-class quality students out there, quality products. So what does institutional effectiveness have to do with this? The answer can be found in its definition. And this is my attempt at defining institutional effectiveness. Institutional effectiveness is the systematic and ongoing process of collecting, analyzing, and acting on data and information relating to the goals and outcomes you develop to support the college's mission and purpose. Again, you see how this all tied in together. At the end of the year, we're going to collect data, and we're going to see how it's all linked to the priorities, and of course, finally, the mission of the college. If we do a good job, which I know we will. Moving right along. In efforts to achieve institutional effectiveness, institutions of higher learning are expected to develop key performance indicators which are used to measure performance. The main purpose of IE is continuous improvement. This involves a circle of activities within the organization. Generally, IE falls under 4 main headings in our educational enterprise. Institutional effectiveness is the new paradigm that has gained prominence in higher education and has become the acceptable means for recognizing and rewarding excellence. And you remember, in the priorities, we talk about maximizing excellence. In the academic community, IE is utilized as instrument for the transformation of the educational enterprise. Students, counselors, and parents have become savvier in their choice of college or university in order to get the bang for the buck. Money is so tight now. So it's either you remain competitive or not. So if you're not, you will see we will see the results. So if we want to be competitive and we want to stay ahead of the game, institutional effectiveness, this is it. There is also pressure on colleges and universities to be more accountable to do more with less, especially in the face of budget cuts and unfavorable economic conditions. And we all know that. We all attest to that. And we all know the roles of accreditation agencies. As I mentioned earlier on, we have 6 of them in the country. I've been opportunity to work at 4. In fact, I had worked with Higher Learning Commission before, and so it's good to be back here. To be in business. SAT, NEAS, Higher Learning Commission, Northwest Commission on Colleges and University, and of course, specialized programs, which my colleague alluded to earlier on. The business department got accredited. That is good for us. That is really great news. Impact of state policies, e.g. Board of Regents, IBHE, Board of Trustees, and MINSCU. And of course, different university systems across the country. And NICU is for private colleges, which have had the opportunity to work at private institutions as well. Earlier on, I did refer to the fact that there are 4 types of institutional effectiveness. And these 4, it doesn't matter whether you're talking about Ivy League institution or research institution or 2-year institution. If we do a good job, they will fall here. Instructional and student learning outcomes, research productivity outcomes, administrative services outcomes, and public service outcomes. So the administrative outcomes refers to admissions office, registrar's office, my office, and the rest of it. We talk about grants and applying for grants, getting grants. All of it will fall here. Public service. My dear friend Michelle will tell you about a workforce. I work on the workforce group. So everything will fall here under these 4 categories. So I thought it's good to really define what KPIs means, or performance indicators. Indicators are guideposts that provide information to set performance standards for individual jobs. They may focus on any combination of the following: quantity or quality, of work, task completed, timeliness, cost effectiveness, variation from past to present, method of performance, etc. For illustrative purposes, sample performance, I'm providing you samples here. Number of applications processed. I know the admissions office will like that. Number of batches completed, number of cases processed, success rate, opposite error rate, turnaround time, percentage of rework, backlog, and a host of others. And of course, money collected. I know Steve will like that. Percentage of customers satisfied with the services we provide. Managerial here, pass rates on specialized program, NCLEX, number of grants submitted, number of grants funded, research dollars from grant activities, and of course, student profile relative to strategy plan, which I'm sure the strategy task force group also looked at the goals and objectives, dollar amount raised from fundraising, whether 3 years, 4 years, and I was so excited to see all of us very excited about the data that Greg was sharing. I said, okay, I think I feel good about being here, about doing this job, because that tells me about our curiosity and our interest in data. That means a lot to me. So when I heard us say, wow, 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 to those good numbers, you know, increase our retention rate by more than 100%, I was excited to see that. And we're going to do more of that. We're going to expand our databases. We're going to expand our assessment capacity, both qualitative and quantitative methods. We're going to employ it like it's never been done here before. Dollar amount raised, again, fundraising, we are counting on you. Even today, before you leave here today, my colleague, Des, will talk about that later on today. So, very critical. Retention rates, graduation rates. And giving you one example of outcomes assessment. And of course, if we do a good job on our outcomes assessment for academic programs, it has to fall under 3 domains, which is one of the things I found very lacking or very weak in some of the outcomes. I was doing some consulting work for one institution in the Northwest region, and working with some of my colleagues over there, and I said, wow, these are not outcomes. For academic program, you wrote just one that was not in comparison, maybe attitudinal items. That don't cut it. It doesn't cut it. It has to comprise affective, behavioral, and cognitive aspects, if you do a good job with it. So I'm providing an example here. Our graduates and seniors, we have an average total score on the NCLEX that meets or exceeds national average, and score no less than national average on all sections, whether it's pharmacology we're looking about, and different aspects of nursing. I think we have several areas of nursing. So, on those tests. Now, this model is what we're going to be using. One other thing that I believe has really helped me over the years, is developing a good plan, a good model that the college or university could use to do assessment or to collect outcomes data. I've seen where the process or model they are using is so cumbersome. No wonder faculty don't want to do it, because they just believe it's another add-on they don't want to deal with. But if you develop a good, simple, practical model, then people will buy it, especially once they begin to see the data and the evidence they see they are really impacting quality education, then people will buy in, and they will take ownership of the process. And so I developed a 4-step process. I developed this process in 2000, which is basically 3 outcomes, no more than 3. And then some cases I do give exceptions sometimes, and maybe 4 or 5, but rarely do I encourage more than 3. So it can be manageable, practical, and realistic. Then means of assessment, criteria, standard, KPIs. Then you collect the data. And yours truly, we are there to support you. Whatever we need, whether we need to provide budget, or I hope I'm not going too far when I say that, to support that, or we do an in-house tool to help you collect the data you need. And what I do encourage folks is get with me, get with my office, get with my staff to help you develop the tool you need to get the data you need. Don't come in the midway when it's become so complicated. Involve my office earlier on in that process, and we're going to help you get it done. It's not that we won't help you if you are midway. We will. But the job will be easier and better if you get with us from the get-go. And then we collect data. And so the data, then we use the data at the end of the year. May, June, we use the data. My experience over the years, which I've been to 1 retreat already since I've been here, so I've been very excited to really fill us out, have a sense of the flavor of the college. And so a retreat happens at the end of that year where we plan and strategize, linking it to our college strategy plan to see where we're weak and where we're strong, and what direction we need to go. So how do we demonstrate? This is where most accreditation agencies usually get any college, or colleges or universities, is that they do not have method to demonstrate institutional effectiveness. So I have linear model here, but in doing that, we're going to look at technology, different technology, track that, task stream, digital measures, and dashboards. We're going to use a lot of dashboards to demonstrate how we're doing with our strategy plan at the end of the day. So how do we know we are doing very well? How do we know we have institutional effectiveness really in our culture, in what we do here at the college? Well, some of the evidence are these: achievement of college goals and mission, efficient management operations. We're going to be able to see where we're weak, like as I've said earlier on, what we're doing well and what we need to improve upon. I remember sharing the data with one departmental chair in one of the institutions that I worked, and very similar to in biology, as I said, and the instrument we used. And the chair saw the data and said, wow, this is how we are doing, this is how weak we are in zoology? I can't believe that. And so what happens? They look at changing the methods of instruction. That is what the data does for us. I never look at any data as bad, never. Even where we are weak, never look at it as bad, because it makes you stronger. It's going to reveal to you where you're weak, so you can focus your resources on that aspect. Whether you need to develop a new syllabus or whatever. That is the importance of that. That is the importance of institutional effectiveness. Emphasis on college environment, student learning and development, and sources. So we also, progressive institutions or competitive institutions, we also have similar office like we're having here today, which is why I'm here, and I'm excited, very excited to be here. The assistance of this office, we also engender developing a comprehensive assessment program and evaluation program. And of course, very critical to that is skilled personnel, very critical. Evidences, a system of state-of-the-art comprehensive database system conduct longitudinal studies to show trend on how we are doing. I was looking at some data yesterday about our fundraising activity, and looking at the trend, we can see where we are very clearly. Adoption of best practices in higher education, benchmarking. Wow, we're going to do that. I believe in that. We're going to look at different ways of comparing where we are. And of course, the culture of evidence. We're going to raise awareness. We're going to support and promote doing that, including use of quantitative and qualitative findings for continuous improvement. Let me share one funny thing with you. In one of the institutions that I worked, I implemented one instrument. And in the instrument that I implemented, I also require a qualitative side. Usually people just look at quantitative, but you can get very rich information from what your student tells you. Now, what happened was some of the students said, well, they probably won't look at this. They're going to throw it away. I said, no, not this one. I did the analysis. I presented it. Our criminal justice program, one of those institutions, our students used to go to another college to finish their program. And it came clearly in the qualitative sections that students really don't like it. They were unhappy with the process. And it showed in my analysis. Well, what happened as a result of that? The school had its own full-fledged program based on that data. They said, no more, we're not doing that. And you know what also happened? Enrollment skyrocketed. So this is what we're going to be doing. So we're going to look at quantitative and qualitative data for continuous improvement. And of course, when we do that, our school will become a model within this, the region, the state, and beyond. So conclusion, essentially, institutional effectiveness is responsible for helping to achieve institutional mission. This office is a pivotal office for the achievement of executive decision-making, data collection, analysis, interpretation, and of course, dissemination. No, that's another thing I don't do. My data will not sit on the shelf. You heard the president say that our strategic plan, we're going to push it, we're going to achieve, we're going to do what it says. It's not going to sit on the shelf. We're going to collect the data, and we're going to disseminate it on the web, internally, what have you. I remember getting to one of the institutions, I'm not going to mention name, and I found out that retention data, they got it. It's sitting somewhere in silos. I said, we looked at it, said, nobody. I picked it up, we analyzed it, and things began to change. Committees were organized, and people started to look at the data. What is diversity? How does our enrollment retention, how does it apply to Caucasians or Asians or what have you? So the results will not, you can bet on it. It's not going to be on the shelf. We're going to use it. And so the benefit of that is continuous improvement. And that concludes my presentation. I love this so much for the simple fact that it's about building lives. Somebody answered the question, what is our mission? It's all about? It's about world-class students, producing world-class education, world-class students that can succeed and go to the community and be very successful, good citizen, and then give us money to advance our program and our future students. So thank you for listening to me. Thank you.